Are you a Green Bay Packers fan? If yes, you are in the right channel. Before watching the video, I ask you to please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thank you. Green Bay Packers roster projection, the defense and specialists. Today, we continue our Green Bay Packers roster projection. In part 1, we projected the offensive side of the ball. Today, we project the defense and specialists for the Packers roster. Green Bay Packers 53-man roster projection, the defense and specialists. With first-year starting quarterback Jordan Love at the helm, you would think that the Green Bay offense will be the most scrutinized unit heading into 2023. But in reality, the Green Bay Packers defense has the most on the line. General Manager Brian Gutekunst has used 7 first-round picks on defensive players. That doesn't include Kenny Clark, who was drafted by former General Manager Ted Thompson. With 8 former first-round picks, expectations are high for the Packers defense. Love is expected to have some growing pains in his first year as a starter. So, if the Packers are going to compete for the NFC North title, the defense is going to have to carry this squad. There is not a member of the Packers who will be more under the microscope than defensive coordinator Joe Barry. Many Packers fans were hoping that Matt LaFleur would fire Barry this offseason. But, once again, LaFleur is staying loyal to one of his assistants, hoping Barry can be better in 2023 than in his first 2 seasons. Barry, along with the rest of the defensive players on the roster, will need to step up in 2023. Here are our roster projections for the defense as well as the specialists. After being selected in the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft, Devontae Wyatt will be expected to make a big jump in his second season. The Packers are hoping he can be an elite running mate with veteran and standout Kenny Clark. Gutekunst added 2 more defensive linemen in this year's draft, selecting Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks. T.J. Slaton has shown some promise and should be the 3rd defensive lineman, especially if Barry goes with 3 down defensive linemen in certain packages. We expect Jonathan Ford to make the roster, just for the fact that he is a former Gutekunst draft pick. But it would not be surprising to see Ford deactivated for most games. When projecting the opening game roster, Rashawn Gary, who is coming off a 2022 season-ending injury, will likely not be ready to go when the season kicks off. While there is no doubt that Gary's work ethic will have him ahead of schedule, do not expect him back until at least mid-season. If our projection of Gary is true, it looks like undrafted rookie Brenton Cox will make the opening game roster. Cox was one of the undrafted free agents recently highlighted, and is the only undrafted free agent from this past draft to make the Packers roster. Veteran Preston Smith and this year's first-round pick, Lucas Van Ness, will be leaned on to produce the pass rush until Gary returns. Van Ness' ability to line up inside and out will be utilized quite a bit in Barry's scheme. Similar to the Packers' tight ends group, the Packers will likely go a little lighter at inside linebacker. There is no doubt that Gutekunst will carry more on the Green Bay Packers practice squad, but to start the season they will go with 5. While Quay Walker had some emotional issues on the field, he performed well in his rookie season. He will become the Packers' top inside linebacker in 2023, leapfrogging Devondre Campbell, who is on a downward trend. Keep an eye on Tariq Carpenter. He is converting from safety to inside linebacker this season. While his main contribution will be on special teams, he has some interesting attributes as an inside linebacker. He has a chance to compete for the Packers' 3rd inside linebacker with Isaiah McDuffie. Eric Wilson makes the roster due to his ability to play special teams. Cornerback, 6. In Jaire Alexander, Rasul Douglas, Eric Stokes, Kayshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, and Corey Ballentine. If the season were to start today, the Packers' 2 starting boundary cornerbacks would be Jaire Alexander and Rasul Douglas. Manning the slot would be Kayshawn Nixon. Alexander, when put in the right defense, is one of the best cover cornerbacks in the NFL. Barry made a huge mistake by playing Douglas in the slot to start the 2022 season. When Stokes went down to injury, Douglas stepped in on the boundary and played very well. Starting Douglas will allow Stokes, a former first-round pick, time to work his way back after suffering a season-ending injury in 2022. Nixon made a name for himself as a returner in 2022, a position he is expected to do once again in 2023. Becoming the starting slot cornerback should not be a problem for Nixon. He has one speed and that is full blast, something that will be needed in the slot. With Carrington Valentine and Corey Ballentine making the roster, that means the Packers will part ways with Shemar Jean-Charles. If that happens, it will be another blow to Gutekunst's drafting ability. He selected Jean-Charles in the 5th round of the 2021 NFL Draft. Safety, 5. In Darnell Savage, Rudy Ford, Jonathan Owens, Anthony Johnson Jr., and Tarvarius Moore. Safety is the most underwhelming position on the roster. Darnell Savage and Rudy Ford are expected to be the opening game starters, something that does not give Packers fans warm and fuzzy feelings. Savage was benched for poor play in 2022 and really did not earn his spot back, even though he became the starter again late in 2022. Ford, who replaced Savage, played decently but still is not a standout NFL safety. Jonathan Owens and Tarvarius Moore were signed as free agents this offseason. However, both have question marks when it comes to their ability. Still, out of the two, Moore seems like he has the best chance to replace Savage or Ford if, or when, they falter. Anthony Johnson has a lot of potential but, as a 7th-round rookie, it is doubtful he will be much of a factor on defense. Dallin Levitt appears to be a player without a spot on the Packers roster. He is a favorite of special teams coordinator Rich Bisaccia. But, while he played a lot of special teams snaps last season, he did not make many plays. In the 2022 preseason, he showed that he does not have much ability when it comes to playing safety. Specialists, 3. Anders Carlson, Daniel Whelan, and Matt Ozek. Many might find it surprising to see Daniel Whelan overtaking Pat O'Donnell as the Packers' starting punter. While Bisaccia likes veteran players, Whelan's big leg will be too much for O'Donnell. Andy Herman of the Pack a Day podcast pointed out on his June 15 episode that Whelan turned some heads with his punting and his holding during workouts. It appears that Matt Ozek will be the Packers' next long snapper. He takes over from Jack Coco, who held the position in 2022. Ozek has experience snapping in the league, Jacksonville Jaguars and Los Angeles Rams, which should give Bisaccia some confidence in him. With no competition, the Packers' starting kicker position is Anders Carlson's to lose. It is a risk not having anyone to compete against Carlson, but it seems the Packers are confident Carlson can hold down the position. Release a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. I update you with the news in the next video. Bye.